Maoist Rebel News fans, if you've been following the situation in Canada at all, you would know the Canadian election, the last Canadian federal election, was stolen. And as of right now, 100 ridings have reported that they've been tampered with by robocalls. The robotic calls that were sent by the Conservative Party to misinform people of where to vote. Calls that impersonated Liberal candidates in highly liberal ridings. 100 ridings. It's mind-boggling to even think of that number. Now, a call center staffer, Pierre Poutin, as he's known, has admitted that he's impersonated Liberal Party callers. He basically impersonated the Liberal Party and then misled them. Deliberate actions intended to interfere with our democracy. And the right-wing media keeps saying, oh, no, it's an invention by the left-wing media. Well, by left-wing media, they mean everybody but the Sun. Apparently the left-wing media is everybody except, well, QMI, apparently. Wonder how much their souls cost to put this through. So what do we do? What do we do as Canadians when we're forced with this situation where our democracy was corrupted and undermined? We go to the Governor General. Supposedly, what the guy is there for is the representative of the Queen to overlook her interests and supposedly to assist with democracy or even help us if we need it. So we ask, what do we get? Governor General Johnson can't be bothered. Doesn't care. To him, the democracy of Canadians doesn't matter. What does matter is the guy who appointed him, Stephen Harper. Stephen Harper suggested the man, and the Queen rubber stamps it, signs off on it. Well, it's nice to know the only person that can put Harper in his place was hired by Harper, showing what kind of a so-called democracy that we really have. And the right-wing media covers it up, calls it all fake. Oh, the calls, the robocalls aren't real. The people complaining about the election misconduct, it's not real. It's all fake. It's not fake when people in Afghanistan make reports of corrupted democracy. And those are pretty goddamn blatant. Hamid Karzai, a complete puppet. His election was a complete sham. The monumental accusations after both times Vladimir Putin was elected. And by the way, Harper, I did notice how you came down on him and said how he should be more transparent and more democratic. Pot calling the kettle black much? This exposes the inherent fail in representative democracy that, to borrow a phrase, we the people select which person represents us. Sorry, but I don't need somebody representing me. I much prefer direct participatory democracy, where we do not vote on people to make decisions for us, where we vote on the decisions ourselves. But we already know what would happen. At a time when 70+% of the Canadian public doesn't want the war in Afghanistan to continue, it keeps getting pushed on in absolute defiance of the will of the Canadian people. So we can already tell, at least when we go to war, we're following the will of the people, right? Now that's just one example of everything that's being done. That's representative democracy. You picked me, or in this case, picked me, and to hell with what you want. And that pretty much happens regardless of which one of the two parties you vote for, Liberal or Conservative. Pretty much the same thing happens every time. But at no point did the Liberal Party have to steal an election from the public. That alone should say something. And it definitely shows that all the Conservatives jumping on the Harper defense wagon, oh no, it's just the socialist media, and by socialist they mean everybody who disagrees with them, because God knows there could be no real variety of opinion. There's only the evil and the good, showing the black and white world that they really do believe in. being detached from the gray reality that actually is the political landscape of not just this country, but the entire world. But what does it matter? They all scream, freedom, freedom, freedom! Where is it? We got them the conservative government continually trying to push stuff to spy on us, trying to get rid of our right to being charged before being held, and taking away some of the most fundamental freedoms we have. Oh, but, you know, Harper's not a dictator, of course, because, well, he didn't take away our guns. And he got rid of the long gun registry, which, by the way, is the only thing I actually agree with him on. I do believe in getting rid of the long gun registry. I'm a big supporter of gun rights for people. After all, communist revolutions have, well, handed out guns to everybody. Mao armed the masses. Castro armed the masses against the reactionaries because it's always right to rebel against reactionaries. So I at least support him on that. He's not a total monstrous evil dictator. He did back off on our guns a little bit. Sure, he took away actual rights, but he, backed off a little bit on our guns. But they don't want freedom. They don't want an honest public debate, a struggle session style public mass debates that existed in revolutionary China, where thousands, untold thousands of people would travel to a place to discuss ideas. Hundreds of people would stand in a group, and they would stand there openly declaring their beliefs and what should be done. And they would struggle with ideas, and these struggles would go on all afternoon into the night and sometimes in the early morning. Because the ideas would be expressed in their fullness. They would be expressed publicly in a debate, not the so-called debate we have now with the media, where we've got people saying, well, maybe Stephen Harper did something, and Stephen Harper did nothing. That's what we have now. We don't have a real debate. We have a fraud of a debate. We should be knocking on the palace doors and taking the tyrant down, but we're not, because we're Canadian and we're just too goddamned polite to do something like that. And before I wrap this up, I typed in Governor General, robocalls, Royal Commission, just to get a little bit of information on what was going on. Do you know what I got? I got an ad at the bottom of the Google search. This ad. That feels like a slap in the face. They literally advertise for politicians. I mean, it's maddening. And I love that little part right up in the corner. Why this ad? That's a good question. Why this ad? Even though it wasn't, it even felt like Google was mocking us on this.